I don't want to waste too much of your time. Improving your looks in 2023 as a man is very important. Over the last 10 years, appearance has kind of come to the forefront as one of the most important things for men when it comes to dating and attraction. And it's really difficult and hard to navigate and deal with. It's been proven in loads of studies and dating app statistics and social media statistics that most women find 80%, around 80% of men as ugly. Yes, you heard it. Somehow 80% are considered below average. You can probably thank social media for that. And for most of my life, I was near the bottom of that 80%. I was practically invisible to most people, and most women especially. I'd say for a good 80% of my life right now, up until I'd say the age of 22, I was somewhere almost, I'd say, rock bottom of that 80%. And I've made some great Looksmaxxing progress in that time since. And now I'm here to share some of those Looksmaxxing tips with you. Now, step number 1, your teeth. They're very important. They're the first things you see when someone smiles, aren't they? That first smile, that first impression tells a lot. You want to make sure they aren't crooked or aren't discolored, and make sure they're straightened. So things you can do, you can straighten them with braces or Invisalign, go to an orthodontist or a dentist who's trained in Invisalign, or you know the Invisalign clear aligners. I don't know if you have them wherever you're from. If they're crooked, you want to straighten them in some way or another. You can also do things like composite bonding and veneers if you want to kind of change the shape of them if they're too small or too kind of broken down or worn down. Veneers or crowns if they're too broken down and you need to replace a lot more than just the front surface. Just go to a dentist. I can't explain all of it here. Go to a dentist. He'll tell you which ones to go for in which areas. Specific situations, you're probably going to need crowns rather than veneers if your teeth are mangled by it. The least invasive is composite bonding, which is basically veneers, except they don't do any shaving. They just build on top of it with composite. You know, composite is the white filling material. So not only is this good for changing the shape of your teeth to make them more aesthetic, but they're also good for whitening them or giving them a whiter color. The most common whitening route is the bleaching trays. So, you probably know what I'm talking about when you can just bleach your teeth with some whitening trays. They're good and they're effective only to an extent. Sometimes if your teeth are just too discolored, they won't work and you will have to go down the veneers, composite bonding, or crowns route. Disclaimer: before you do any of that, you want to make sure your oral hygiene and all the basics are taken care of. So you want to make sure all your cavities are taken care of, all your infections are taken care of. Make sure your oral hygiene is good so that you don't have any inflamed gums or any gingivitis or any gum disease. Number 2 is hair. Now, hair has been described as 80% of what makes a guy's face attractive. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but it's still very, very, very good and very important. Want to make sure you have a good haircut for your head shape. The most common haircut that's around nowadays is the undercut, with or without a fade. Something like what I have here, where you basically less hair on the sides and more on top. A mullet is a variation of the undercut, except you've hair, more hair down the back. Now, the good thing about the undercut is that it works with pretty much any head shape, so you can't really go wrong with it. So that's the one I'd recommend most guys to start off with if you don't know, what kind of haircut to get. Now, with buzz cuts, you want to be really, really careful with those. For buzz cuts, you want to make sure you have a good square face with near perfect proportions everywhere else. Because otherwise, if you don't have the good square face or the proportions, you end up risking looking like Megamind or some massive scumbag. You go up to someone trying to be their friend and their first reaction is going to be, please don't stab me. I personally can't work a buzz cut. I have an awful head shape. My fucking forehead is massive. I'll get into that later on, but if I got a buzz cut, I'd end up looking like Megamind. So definitely wouldn't work for me. And that leads me to my next point. If you have a massive forehead like I do, or a receding hairline, you definitely don't you want to stay away from the buzz cut, and you want to go with something like a fringe. I did a whole TikTok about my own hair sort of journey and getting dreadlocks to get a fringe to cover my forehead. It's going to be somewhere in the cards there, or it's going to be linked below, so check that out. So yeah, a buzz cut extenuates what's already there. So if you have a good face shape, it's going to extenuate something good. If you don't have a good face shape or head shape, it's going to extenuate, I think that's the word. It's gonna highlight something awful. So anyway, back to the massive forehead / receding hairline. You want a fringe. Obviously someone with afro hair or coarser hair like me, getting a fringe is a bit difficult. So you want to get dreadlocks. You want to even extensions sometimes. I ended up getting dreadlocks to give myself a fringe. It's covered my forehead quite a bit and it's actually made me look a lot better. It made me feel a lot better about how I look, so I would definitely recommend it. Costs a fortune to get these done as well. Now you can add some styles and designs, so I usually get a line through my hair on the side that kind of goes into my eyebrow. You can see the eyebrow slit here. The line's kind of faded because I haven't got a haircut in a while. Things like lines and designs, you know, gives you a bit of personality, makes you stand out a bit more. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to go full Paul Pogba or anything. Yeah, just do it to stand out a little bit. Number 3, facial hair. The notorious makeup for men. One, and I cannot stress this out enough, lads. Make sure you can actually grow some. Shave off any patchy or weak facial hair. Like, come on, boy, have some dignity. Having bad facial hair genetics is bad enough, but showing the world you've bad facial hair genetics is crazy. If you're young, like 19 or 20, then you might have the genetics, but they just haven't come through yet. In that case, to find out, basically, just look at your dad if he's come back from getting the milk yet, or your uncles or someone like that, to see if they have beards. If they do, then you probably have the genetics that are going to come later on in life. In the meantime, just shave it off. Don't keep any patchy facial hair. Wait until you start noticing good beard or improved beard growth, and then you can start growing it out. But yeah, if not, then just shave it off. Clean shaven. Don't be KSI. What is that? And yeah, for everyone else, once you do grow a beard, make sure it's not scruffy. Keep it well lined up. Keep it trimmed. You can try and go with beard oils or things like that. I personally don't use them, but if someone has, you can comment below and, you know, tell us. A good thin beard like what I have here, it's a bit like thicker here, but a good thin beard is good for most people. If you have a good lower face, good chin, good jawline, then yeah, a thin beard should do the trick. If you're unfortunate enough to have the anti-Giga Chad jawline or chin, your best bet is to go for like a goatee style long beard that kind of masks that, makes the chin more pronounced than it actually is. It kind of it masks the recessed chin. So you can do that to kind of help cover your lower face. Mustache is up to you. I mean, there's no real way of telling if you'd suit a mustache or not. Just, I guess you can try it once, see if you like the look of it, see if other people think it looks good. And if not, just get rid of it straight away. I'm gonna include eyebrows in the facial hair section, so yeah, make sure they're well trimmed. Make sure to get rid of any monobrow here. You can do things like an eyebrow slit, which you can clearly see I've done here. And obviously, I'd usually, once I get a haircut, I'd get it kind of continuous into a line through my hair here. Number 4, your jawline. Now this is a controversial one, lads. Now there is said to be some jaw exercises you can do to get that Giga Chad jawline. You have to be careful not to absolutely screw your TMJ, which is your temporal mandibular joint that's in here. You know, your jaw joint, basically. How responsible do I want to be? Giga Chad jawline, lifelong TMD. Okay, now how about this? There are different jaw exercises you can do that involve resistance bands. You can probably look them up. You can do chewing exercises as well. Just make sure you're not doing heavy loads or not doing them too frequently, so you don't end up absolutely screwing your joint in your jaw, basically. Another thing you can do is just chew a lot of gum. Chewing gum really helps as well with building up your masseters to really, you know, extenuate your jawline. I keep forgetting that not everyone studied this. It's the masseters are it's actually the strongest muscle in your body. The muscle here, right there. If you clench, you feel it tense up there. Now I want to talk about mewing. Now this is very controversial regarding whether it actually works at all or not. I think it works if you're young, if you're like 14. Mewing is a practice where you basically make sure your tongue posture is constantly up, pressed against the roof of your mouth. You basically want to posture your tongue to the roof of your mouth and make sure it's pressing against the roof of your mouth and your mouth is closed and you're constantly breathing through your nose. Holding that posture permanently will help you improve your breathing, but also will improve your facial development so that you'll get good lower face development and you'll get a better jawline. If you're an adult and you've grown already, you've done all your growing, some people say it still works, but it's very, very, very slow. If you're young and you haven't finished developing, like you're 13, 14, 15, 16 even. It probably will work. There's loads of videos on mewing on the internet. You can look them up in great detail. The gist of it is just a tongue posture and keeping your mouth closed and keep breathing through your nose. Now, linked to the jawline, we have orthodontics. Now, we already talked about teeth, right? But lucky for you, orthodontics is much more than just teeth. What most people don't know is orthodontics involves your, teeth carrying bones called the alveolar bones, the bones that your teeth are carried in. So here and here. Orthodontics looks at how the teeth position can actually influence. I just spat all over the camera. Orthodontics looks at how teeth position actually influences the growth and development of those specific bones, which gives rise to weak chins and sunken mid-face and things like that. And vice versa. The development of that could just be the way you develop, and that will lead to malalignment of teeth. So depending on whatever the combination of factors you have, you could end up basically with a weak recessed chin, underdeveloped chin, or an overdeveloped prognathic. I'm throwing out all the sciencey words today, jeez. Overdeveloped chin, or another way of saying that is a sunken mid-face, where your face your side profile is like, instead of like this, it sinks in at the mid-face and then protrudes out, through your chin. But luckily for you, if you're under the age of 15, you can actually go to an orthodontist and they can sort you out. At that young age, you're still growing, which means that an orthodontist, by just putting on some appliances, sometimes some removable appliances or some fixed appliances onto your teeth and mouth, they can actually change how your bones are developing to give you a better outcome when they form. So say you've a recessed jaw, you can go in at a young age, maybe 12, 13, you can put on an appliance which can help by changing the way your face is postured. It can change the way your teeth meet and eventually change the way your bones actually develop. So you can actually, without doing any surgery, get results like this. Over the age of around 15, once you're kind of done growing, around 18, 19, the growth slowed down quite a lot. There's not much you can do in terms of non-surgical options. So you're going to have to go down the orthognathic surgery route, which is basically just orthodontic surgery. I'm hesitant to include surgery in this because I could easily I could make this entire video just like, top 10 Looksmaxxing surgeries, like cosmetic surgery here, cosmetic surgery here, but this is technically not cosmetic and it's more orthodontic. So it's called orthognathic surgery and it's done through assessment of an orthodontist, and then you go to an orthognathic surgeon for it. So yeah, I'm going to include it. Number 6, your physique. Of course I was going to mention this, like obviously. What else would I have mentioned, you fat feckers? Get off and go to the gym right now. To get the aesthetic physique, you want to target the aesthetic muscles. So the lats, the pecs, the arms, the abs. I made a TikTok 2-part series talking about the top 10 aesthetic muscles to work on in the gym. So you can click on it, it'll be in the description, or there'll be a card here somewhere maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure if YouTube allows linking TikTok links. But if I can put a card for the TikTok, it'll be somewhere up here. Build the aesthetic muscles, get lean, so that you can show your abs and show the veins and be very, very, very lean and very, very sexy. You've no excuse otherwise. If you're not in shape, if you're not going to the gym to at least try and get jacked, I don't want to hear anyone complaining about being too ugly or the beauty standard being too high if you haven't at least gotten into shape first. Oh bro, it's hopeless. There's no hope for me. I'm just too ugly. Motherfucker, you're a fat bastard. You haven't even done the most basic and fundamental step to improving your appearance. The one thing guaranteed to work to make you look better at least. Get up, go out, get somewhat jacked at least, and then come back to me and complain. Thing is, I was like this for a long time. Like, I'm talking to myself here from a few years ago. I complained about just not being attractive, not being, lucky enough with genetics or whatever, and not being attractive whilst I was a fat fecker. No point complaining if you're a fat fecker. Stop being a fat fecker first, and then maybe you can start complaining afterwards. Number 7, your clothes. Simple enough really. Pick a style. There's usually 3 main styles. You can go casual, you can go very casual, so like shorts or tracksuits, or you can go formal. The likes of Tristan and Andrew Tate go very formal, looks very good on them. Some people make the casual look work. I personally like the casual look. I don't like the very casual look. I mean, of course I'll wear tracksuits in the gym or when I'm exercising or anything, but generally casual, pair of jeans, a nice t-shirt, that's for me. But for, like, different styles work for different people. Whatever style you like, go for it. Some people look great, you know, wearing trackies. Some people actually make tracksuit bottoms and shorts work. Some people make sportswear stylish. You don't have to be Andrew Tate wearing your custom fitted suits for like $5 grand. Now, the fit of your clothes is way more important than the actual type of style. Make sure you're wearing good fitting clothes if you're in good shape. If you're in good shape, you built a lot of muscle, you're quite jacked, then you want to get nicely fitted clothes. Fitted jeans, slim fit, shirts that, you know, hug your biceps, hug your arms. Muscle fit, perfect. If you're in bad shape, well then first of all, get into shape. Then whilst you're waiting to get into shape, you want to wear baggier clothes. So you don't want to wear anything that's fitted because then it'll just be very unflattering for you. Wear looser clothes, baggier clothes until you get into shape. Just wear things that's gonna hide how out of shape you are. Good option if you're out of shape is like compression shirts underneath to kind of compress all the fat, and then you can wear more tighter fitted clothes on top of those to kind of you know, once you've kind of masked your out of shapeness. These compression things are actually very good for a gyno as well. If you're a guy who has gynecomastia, which is basically just man boobs, they're very good to allow you to wear nicely fitted shirts and your nipples don't stick out through them. So yeah, fat feckers and gyno bros. I'm a fellow gyno bro. I've had gyno pretty much most of my life, so they're good for the gyno bros. I don't know, I'm not an expert when it comes to color and things. Obviously, matching colors, you don't want to wear colors that are too drastic. Like, you don't want to wear, I don't know, turquoise and freaking salmon. Actually, maybe that works. I don't know, honestly. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. Purple and orange, I'd assume they don't go well together. Yeah, matching colors, I guess, or colors that go well together. Look at your skin tone as well. I mean, I think with my skin tone, any color works for me. If you're a paler skin tone, you want to wear something that doesn't make you look as pale, warmer colored clothes. Double check with an actual stylist when it comes to those kind of things, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on color matching. Number 8, personal hygiene. This should be obvious, but believe it or not, it's actually not that obvious for a lot of people. For the love of God, please shower. Make sure you don't stink. If you stink, it's over for you. Forget anything else we talked about. It's over for you. Be clean, don't stink. Shower daily. Use a proper body wash. Don't use some 7-in-1 BS. Unbelievable. 5-in-1, you know, conditioner, shampoo, body wash, carpet cleaner, dishwasher, freaking fertilizer. Now, when it comes to smell, you need to pick out a cologne. Too many lads just walking around still using the Lynx Africa from first year. You need to level up to a big boy cologne, a big boy aftershave. You want something that has a distinct, strong, and specific smell. I made a TikTok about smell as well. You know, I'll put a card or a link. You'll find that. When you want to pick out a cologne, you want something that's strong. People always say, oh, you don't want to put on something, you don't want your cologne to be too strong, you know, you don't want to overpower scent. And I'm like, nah, BS. One of the most important things as a man is your presence, is your impact that you have. And smell is one of the key ways you can mark your impact. You can dominate a room. You want to walk into a room and you want everyone to turn their head and know that you've arrived. And you can dominate with your smell. You want something very strong. You want to walk in and everyone, the whole room, to be able to smell your smell. Obviously, you want it to be a good smell as well. You want it to be something specific, so when they smell it, you know, they smell something specific. You know, it's a specific, musky, masculine smell. If someone smells it, you want them to be able to think of something else. So the one I use Sauvage. This isn't a brand deal, as if I'm getting a brand deal from Johnny Depp's Sauvage. No, I use Sauvage. That's a fairly distinct smell, recognizable smell, and I like it. And I think that's the one I'm going to stick with. So make sure you're consistent with it, because when you're consistent with it, it leads to the third point, which is it's unique to you. So people in your circle, people you know, you want them to be able to smell it and to think, oh yeah, that's Johnny's smell. Oh, that's Moxie's smell. You want people to associate that specific smell with you. So yeah, the things we've gone over for smells, so you want it to be strong, distinct, and unique to you. Make sure you've well-kept hair. Make sure it's brushed, it's combed. I mean, I actually don't know how mine looks at the moment, but you know, it's nearly 1 a.m. right now, so in general, washed, combed, clean hair, clean clothes, no stains or anything like that, no tears. Other body hair, pubic hair, make sure it's trimmed to decrease any chances of bad BO. Keep your nails short. Make sure you don't have any of that dirty black stuff that's, you know, sometimes harbors under the nails. Make sure they're short and make sure they're clean. Oral hygiene. Now, remember all that stuff we talked about earlier? About crowns, veneers, composite bonding, bleaching, all that advanced stuff? You can forget all about that if the basics aren't taken care of. If you're not brushing every day, if you've not eradicated any infection in your mouth, if you still have cavities and decay everywhere, forget it. No dentist worth a salt. Well, first of all, anything you do after that's going to fail. Any crown you do is just going to make everything worse. It'll be a waste of money, and no dentist worth their salt should do any advanced stuff on you if you're coming in and you have a mouth full of gingivitis or a mouth full of decay and you're not brushing and flossing every day. Make sure you floss every single day, at least once a day, and make sure you brush twice a day. The brushing technique you want to target is called the modified Bass technique. It's basically where you get a brush, angle it towards the gum, around a 45-degree angle towards the gum, and go in circles. And you want to get every surface of each tooth. I'm going to link a video with the modified Bass technique in the description somewhere. So yeah, those are the 8 Looksmaxxing tips. Time to have a nice quiet chat with you lads, because apparently some people are watching. At this point I'd make a joke about how nobody's watching, but like the last video actually got quite a bit of views. So apparently some people are actually watching. Most of the difficulty that's coming from the beauty standard for men and the sudden rise in importance of looks and appearance for men, it comes from the fact that we're just not used to it. It's recently just sprung up on us in the last 5 to 10 years. Think about it, growing up we were never trained to value or put importance on our looks. Growing up we were never really taught about Looksmaxxing. We were never taught about grooming. Well, I mean, the very basics, but we were never taught about like getting a great haircut that's attractive. It's not something that our parents have instilled in us to value, you know, Looksmaxxing and looking attractive. Women have always had the Looksmaxxing on their side. Think about the makeup industry, the fashion industry. It's always been targeted and tailored for women growing up. Because appearance has always been, for decades, appearance has always been a very important thing for them, that they've always been sort of trained to maintain and keep up from the days from when they were born, basically. For decades women have been valuing their appearance and looking after their appearance. Industries have been selling to them about Looksmaxxing. So they've always had a greater head start than us when it comes to Looksmaxxing. Whereas for us, it's never really been taught to us. Most guys still dress like how their mom used to dress them. Most guys get haircuts that don't suit them. Most guys just aren't in shape, aren't looking after their shape well, because they just haven't been taught to do that. They haven't been trained to do that from a young age, like women have. And now, after all this stuff has suddenly snuck up on us over the last 5 to 10 years, thanks to social media and online dating, where now a man's appearance has taken on a new importance that we've never seen before in previous decades, a lot of men are struggling to cope and navigate this new reality. And they start getting sucked into hopeless spirals where they lose rationality and start thinking very, very detrimental, negative, hopeless thoughts. Rather than sitting down, thinking rationally and looking at actionable steps, they get overwhelmed by the sudden cultural shift and then end up finding themselves 4 pages deep into some incel black pill forums talking about bone mashing, plastic surgery, moving to Southeast Asia. That's real, by the way. You've got guys in these black pill spaces actually mashing their faces in with hammers to change how they look. That's how dark some of this shit gets. White maxing. Ever heard of that? Where ethnic minority guys get surgeries and various treatments to look more white, to fit with Eurocentric beauty standards. Like, dark shit. On the flip side, you have to acknowledge looks matter now more than pretty much anything, other than maybe charisma, which can be enhanced by looks, you know, and vice versa. But looks are crucial. And anyone in 2023 who tries to sell you the idea that looks don't matter, who tries to say, oh, don't worry about looks, they are a liar. They're either 50 years old from a different generation, or someone who's trying to keep you down, or a pickup artist trying to sell you some bullshit game course. Anyone trying to sell you some game or pickup course, and a large percentage of that course isn't about looksmaxxing or improving your appearance, is a fraud. Anytime I see a course and it doesn't include looksmaxxing, I know they're a fraud. But yeah, this is the world we're in. Take it on board, adjust to it. This is the game. Small, simple, actionable steps, and you will get there. Maximize to the best of your ability. Thank you. Like and subscribe.
The fear of being